Hey, hi. Don't be afraid. Just a machete. Ouija boards. What do you think of? Oh, Mando doesn't like Ouija boards. But when you think of Ouija boards, what do you think about? You think about, the high schoolers partying on the weekend where someone's like, ooh, let's do this. And then everyone gets scared and there's lots of oohing and awing and then drinking and making out and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's happens. I remember those days. But I also know there is Ouija board, we'll just call them enthusiasts, who practice on a regular basis. And to highlight where we're going for our scary times, the Unemployable Counselor, I want to tell a little story that I heard, and I have no reason to question its validity because over the many years I've heard this tale, it's never changed. Because usually there's some embellishment, there's some things, caveats added on. This stayed the same. And when it was told to me, it had the same trepidation and fear in the voice that's unmistakable and scream that this is true. So, whether you believe in that or not, that's okay. Whether you believe what I'm saying or not, that's okay too. But I feel I should share this story because it's one of the reasons why as curious I am about the paranormal and I'm curious about Ouija boards, I've never used one because of this story. There was siblings probably 50 years ago now, maybe longer, probably 60, right? For whatever reason, how they started with the Ouija board was never explained. What was explained is how they used it and what happened, right? And it started off slow where they would talk to it and then they'd be like, the things would move and they'd be like, no, you moved it, all that sort of stuff. Those two siblings each got partners, right? There's a wife, there's a husband. The wife, it never worked for the wife. When the husband asked the Ouija board why, it said, doesn't believe in me. Fair enough, right? That could kind of go either way. It could be just, maybe he was trying to, you know, make her spooky so she'd be more receptacle to cuddles. I don't know. But over time, they would use this Ouija board and they would ask it various things about life and jobs and whatnot. Then it hit a point where they were using it, and the man, we'll call him Ted, for lack of a better name. When Ted used the Ouija board, he was working at a job and he was hoping to get the foreman position where he was working. And he asked it and the foreman was retiring in a couple of years, and he thought it'd be him. So he's like, okay, will I become foreman at my job? Right. So they do with with the little cursor thing there. And it says no. Oh. So Ted and his sister are like, oh, okay, well, I'll ask why. So he asked why, and it said Ted dies. And according to Ted, that kind of scared the shit out of him because it had been pretty right so far with things they're asking about their parents or their spouses or their kids, that sort of thing. Not really spooked him enough that he didn't use it anymore. And spooked him enough that he got another job. And then the guy who it said would get that job did get that job. It wasn't because he died, it was because he left. Right? There was an accident with a chainsaw in that period where he lost some of his a couple of his appendages at that job site, which kind of furthered what the Ouija board said. So he thought it was time to get out of there, and he did. Never used it again. His sister, on the other hand, used the Ouija board up until the day she died at age 80. She had it under her bed, and she used it every night because I said she was married. She got divorced. She married someone else. He passed away about 15 years before she did. And she would go on that Ouija board and communicate with him nightly, or at least try to. And Ted never liked to talk about it. When he told the story, there was definitely fear and trepidation in his voice. He did not know exactly what that was, but he did not want to be a part of that anymore because honestly, I think it scared him. Because you're dealing with things that like you shouldn't understand, or things that perhaps can bring out an evil presence, or even stoke something in you that might might make you will things to happen that you don't want to happen, kind of like voodoo, mind over matter. And he was a very analytical thinker, despite having interests like myself, where it's like in the paranormal, psychic, all that kind of stuff, palmistry, you name it. So it was those moments that kind of made him question it. And when I was younger and I would be going places and I would talk to him about different things, he's like, you don't fucking touch those Ouija boards because they're pure evil. There's nothing good about it. It leads you down a dark path. Even if you don't want to, even if you don't believe in it, there's enough there that kind of doesn't resonate well with an individual. It's going to cause issues, and that's that. And you can't dispute it because more times than often it was right. But it made me wonder too, how many stories do you hear about people using a Ouija board that's turned out positive? Or that's been, oh, I spoke to Abraham Lincoln, right? Oh, I did this. No, it's always something that leads to some sort of dark or mysterious or nefarious or sinister, however you want to put it. There's always that connotation that this is not something that maybe should be trifled with. And then that's the allure. The allure is that you're doing something taboo. It's forbidden. It's, especially when you're teenagers goofing around trying to play kissy face with your whoever it is you're after. Those sorts of things are almost instrumental in that rite of passage. I said I never used the Ouija board, and I hadn't, but I had one in my house. And I remember where it was sitting in the basement, behind it, there developed a huge crack in the wall where it was. Now, I'm not saying it came from the Ouija board, but I'm saying that crack wasn't there before the Ouija board was placed in that cabinet. Then when it was moved, the back, there was this huge crack up there and another crack going through it, kind of like a cross. Now, I'm not saying that's from anything demonic or angelic or anything like that. What I'm saying is that's a pretty weird flippant coincidence, don't you think? Stuff to think about. And I'm pretty sure we're coming up on the times where we need to think about this stuff because it's going to get a little bit dark. There's going to be a little bit creepy crawlies going around. And we're also at the point of this where it's foolish to think that I think there's nothing there. Whether, regardless what you believe in, some people believe you just go on the ground and that's it. Other people believe you're in heaven, you're in the clouds. Other people believe other things, reincarnate, whatever. It doesn't matter. But I do think that for all the amount of good people want to put in the world, as we can see, there's an equal amount of not so good in the world. There's evil you see every day that's not on a Ouija board. But my, I guess, takeaway from the stories I've always been told is, why would you mess with something that could potentially call about your doom or initiate it happening? Just some food for thought. But if you have any experience with the Ouija board, if you know more about it, I would love to sit down and talk to you just about the Ouija board itself. Who crafted it? How did it come to being? Why was this being used like it is today? And then hopefully, put it in the comments and let's explore this together. If you've watched all the way through, please share, like, subscribe, and follow wherever you're seeing this. There's going to be more of these coming up. So I want you to enjoy yourself, take care of each other, and be a little leery of that bump in the night. Because you never know just if it's part of this world or another.